Testing. Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you guys. Let's.
Hello?
Yep, I hear it.
Okay, great.
I see Amy's talking, but I don't hear it.
I don't hear anyone. I only hear you.
And who's talking?
This is Karen Matos. I was unfortunately not able to be there in person.
Let me text Kevin. I'm on with Karen. And what's your last name again?
Matos, M-A-T-O-S. I'm a member of the committee, but I wasn't able to be
Gotcha.
there.
And I'm Laura Dominguez. I'm one of the commissioners. Hang on a second. Somebody's calling me.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Claire.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Bye.
So we have multiple buttons that have to be pushed.
Thank you.
Sorry, Commissioner, hold on, we're trying to pull it.
Wow, you took her First Amendment, right?
I think you just connected her.
Yeah, I just promoted them so she could turn on her camera if she wants.
Okay, great.
There you go, now your video works. Karen, we sent you a request if you wanna either promote yourself and then you should be able to turn on your video if you want.
I prefer not to, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. No worries.
Thank you.
Let her enjoy her vacation in peace. Thanks for calling, Karen.
Of course, yes. But look forward to meeting you all personally next meeting.
Yeah, me too. Hope to see you soon.
Who is Aaron? So-
Aaron is, you made his name.
Oh,
I'm gonna go ahead and take my mask off. I'm not sick, I just wasn't sure how crowded this room would be. I'm like trying to be cognizant of people, I don't know. He's still on the course of me.
Are we waiting for quorum?
Yes.
You know what I noticed on the agenda, and I noticed it now, it says Thursday, March
Yeah,
25.
There was an updated one.
Okay,
I think I sent you the old one.
gotcha. Okay, because I just looked at it and I was like, oh no, it was.
there was a revision.
Well, we have a lot of committees. We do have another committee Thursday, and you're welcome to come. It's just not this one, it's our sustainability committee. So we do have another one.
Did I brief that one?
You, I think you did sustainability.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
We have Parosha on repeat at the beginning. Yeah, so we're just waiting on Ronald to start.
Can I get an AI to do my job? Like,
All right, there we go. Hey, Ron, welcome.
That's what
fill out the official paperwork.
You make an entrance, that's what you do.
Okay.
Great, well, I think we can go ahead and get started. Would you like to hit record, Gabby? Or, no? Okay, is it recorded?
I'm driving, okay.
Okay, great.
We actually are there first.
So welcome, everyone. I think we can go ahead and call the meeting to order. My name is Amy Knowles. I am the liaison for this committee, and it's my pleasure to support all of you in this important mission. Love this committee. We're on our third series, our third year, and look forward to working with you all again. And I think what we'd like to do in order to get started is to just do some quick introductions around the room. And then we will have Ferosha from our attorney's office give an overview on ethics and the Sunshine Law, and then we'll get more into the meat of the meeting. So if that's okay with you, we'll just start down here. Actually, why don't we start online with you, Commissioner? Or we can start with you.
Or not. Issues with Rose?
Sure. Okay, great.
Hi.
So what we'll do-
You guys call my name?
We were just gonna go around the room with.
Oh, gotcha.
And we'll start with you online.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Dominguez. I'm one of the commissioners here in Miami Beach. My late partner was Commissioner Samuelin, who had started this committee, and it was my honor to continue it along with the fine group of people that were on this committee. Some of you I could see right in front of me, Claire and Ron and Kurt Dyer. And of course, Amy Knowles and Kevin and Gabby and crew, and Ferosha, who's become one of my faves. So glad that this committee is still going on, and there's a lot that we can do to help our community and improve it and make sure that the residents continue to be aware. My aide, Aaron Soriano, is also on, and if
Hi,
you're
everyone.
comfortable, you can say a quick hello. And looking forward to the first meeting as it's an official committee now.
Wonderful, thank you, Commissioner. And then Karen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's fine, money. Yeah.
Sure. Was that Aaron or Karen?
Karen.
Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Karen Matos. I'm a new appointee to the commission from Commissioner Tanya Bott. And I am currently out of town. I apologize, I can't be there personally. It's my son's spring break. He's a freshman at Beach High. And we're out of town for a few days, but I look forward to meeting everyone in person. I actually grew up on Miami Beach since I'm 5 years old. We moved to the beach from Toronto in 1972. So I've seen a lot of changes on Miami Beach, and went away to study and travel the world, and always came back because just love it here. So I'm very excited and grateful to be on this committee, and look forward to meeting everyone.
Great, thank you so much, Karen. And then just for ease, maybe we can just go around the table, starting with you.
So hey everyone, I'm Noel Weber. I'm on Amy's team in the Environment and Sustainability Department. I'm the Resilience Coordinator. So I work on programs that you might have heard of, including the Private Property Adaptation Program. I know I've met many of you online before, and in other events. But thank you all for coming, and thanks for volunteering for this committee.
Gabby?
Hi everybody, I'm Gabby Gonzalez. I'm also part of the team for the Environment and Sustainability Department. I'm the office associate for the department to help with a lot of the logistics and coordinating, especially for committees. We've been in contact many times.
Yes, so Gabby, you'll receive all your emails from us. So thank you.
But happy to meet you guys.
Very organized. I already introduced myself, and I'm Kevin.
And I'm Kevin Polito, the Neighborhood Affairs Director at City Beach, so glad to be here again.
And my name is Kurt Dyer. This is my second time on the committee, which I love being on this committee. Especially, I have, personal investment in this because my property, there I live on 59th Street, experiences a lot of flooding, so I can kind of key into all of this. I've been a resident of Miami Beach for over 45 years, so I've seen a lot of changes too. A lot for the betterment of all of us. So that's my story.
Okay, I'm Claire McCord. This is my season 3 also on the committee. I'm so honored to be here. I was originally appointed to this committee by the late Mark Samuelin, and I'm excited to keep the work going. And I've been here on Miami Beach 25 years now, so I sort of feel like this is home to me. So look forward to the work that we do.
And a relative newcomer, Ron Stark, and I will be here 14 years. And the board of the South Fifth Neighborhood Association for a number of years. And also on the board of Beach United, which is president.
Me too.
I was on this committee for 1 year as an ad hoc, and now standing. A
Alon Alexander, resident of Miami Beach, not as long as everyone here, but I feel as if I grew up in Miami Beach, growing up in Bal Harbor, spent a lot of my time in Miami Beach, but I've been a homeowner in Miami Beach for 7 or 8 years now, and then have some investment property, so definitely concerned about what is going on in our city. And I also started and head up the Garden District community as well. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faroshan Dashwa. I am a senior assistant city attorney with the city of Miami Beach. I primarily work in legislation and I work closely with city commissioners. And it's very likely that if this committee will pass any motion or LTC recommending the city commission to do something, I will most likely will be involved in implementing it and adopting a resolution or maybe an ordinance working with Amy on implementing it. And I'm also a resident of Miami Beach. I'm very blessed to live, play and work here for several years now. And I live on West Avenue, so I'm also like personally invested in
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And I think we can go ahead and get started with you then, so that you can go out your day to give us an
Yes.
overview of ethics and sunshine law.
Yes, it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Most of you are already well familiar with it. So this is most likely will be aimed towards Karen. I'm not sure how well familiar you are with sunshine law. If you have served on any other prior city committees. But sunshine law can be found in our state constitution and state statutes. It is a constitutional right that safeguards the right of the public to attend and have access to meetings of public officials and bodies. So any citizen has the right to attend this meeting, for example. The sunshine law has 3 basic requirements. Requirement number 1, meetings must be publicly noticed, which is done by our city clerk's office. Number 2, they must be open to the public. And number 3, minutes must be taken, which is done by our wonderful city staff. Sunshine law applies equally to elected bodies such as mayor and city commission, and also to appointed officials and advisory board members such as yourselves, which is why I'm here. And by board, I mean it applies to any gathering of 2 or more members of the same board to discuss community business. So we're gonna dissect that sentence. So what does that mean? That means that board members are only permitted to communicate with each other about committee business at committee's publicly noticed meetings only. And the definition of committee business is extremely broad. That includes any matters that could foreseeably come before you. For example, if it's not on the past month's agenda and it is not on a future month's agenda, but it is something that concerns the purpose of this committee, and that has to do with the committee's existence, please refrain from discussing it with each other outside of committee's public notice meetings. And that means any form of communication, emails, texts, phone calls, social media, written correspondence, if anyone still does that, in-person conversations, as long as it concerns committee business, it may not be discussed outside of your monthly meetings here. And discussing committee business via emails between each other, even if you CC city staff, that's still prohibited because it doesn't meet those 3 criteria because it's not public notice, it's not open to the public, and there are no minutes being taken. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't have a professional or personal relationship with each other, you just can't discuss committee business. There has been one exception that has been recognized, and it usually comes into play when one member wants to share a background article on something or a PDF file, that's like what happened here with the news article. And when that happens, what you would usually do is you would send it to Amy or Gabby and request for them to share it with the members ahead of the upcoming meeting. And they would share it with the members via blind copy. The blind copy is just a technical requirement because sometimes people, if you just send it to everyone, they just hit reply all and then get emails from everyone and it causes an inadvertent sunshine law violation. And violations carry both civil and criminal penalties. Civil penalty is no more than a financial fine of $500. If it's an intentional violation, that would be a second-degree misdemeanor, which would result in jail time of up to 30 days. But I'm glad to report we have yet that to happen in the city of Miami Beach, and that's why we do these refreshers every year to keep you folks out of jail. Sunshine Law also ties into the Public Records Act, which grants citizens the right to inspect and copy all public records. And public records, also a very broad definition. It's basically all records that perpetuate, formalize, and transmit any knowledge made or received in connection of city business. So any, all the minutes, all the discussions that you have in your capacity as board members, all the motions you make, and all the emails that you exchange in your capacity as board members, they are public records, and they're also subjected to requests for public records. So for example, like if any member of the public would want like Claire's emails that were made in your capacity as a board member, they would make requests to the city and you would have to provide them. Now, all of you are custodians of your own records. That means you have a responsibility to maintain your emails that you have made in your capacity as a board member. And that's why we recommend for you to CC city staff in any of the emails that you make in your capacity as a board member, just because then your emails are automatically copied on our iCloud service, and you don't have to worry about deleting them on accident. Because if such a request is ever received, you can just pull them from our iCloud service. And I believe that concludes the really brief Sunshine Law presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to.
Just to clarify something, so if two board members happen to be at a meeting, not a notice meeting, and something comes up that could potentially come to the committee, are the board members safe ground as long as neither one of them speaks?
Yes, as long as you're not discussing it with each other.
With each other,
Yeah,
right?
the Sunshine Law only applies to the members of the same board. For example, you can actually discuss an issue that could come up before this committee with a member of the sustainability board, because you're not the same board, even though these are very similar topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sunshine Law only applies to the member of the same board.
Right, so I think, Ron's question is similar to what I was gonna ask. Ron and I both sit on Beach United board of directors. Occasionally, we do go through the agendas, we talk about certain issues. And so it is germane to us to understand, what we could discuss and what we could simply listen to, hear about. If a topic that might come before this committee was in discussion, would it mean that neither one of us could participate, or that one of us could participate and the other one would accuse themselves of being or clock out of the meeting?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
So if you're not present, then you're.
Yeah, what we've been doing is have somebody just step off.
I think that's a good safety measure. Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
And allow the other person to go ahead and discuss the matter.
With the other people who are not part of the group.
Yeah, I think that's a good solution. And I mean, I'd say Sunshine Law is a lot more rigid when it comes to like elected officials. Because it's meant to prevent like corruption, embezzlement, and I mean the whole reason why it's called Sunshine Law is to shine light on the dealings of elected politicians, to make sure that there isn't any like shady backdoor dealings or anything. I don't think that is something that quite applies to the committee here. So we aren't strict, but we are still striving for uniformity. So I think your solution is proper here in the board. Thank you.
Yeah, and similarly, one of the things that I do is I go through the commission agenda and I just say, here are some items that are on the agenda that we may want to discuss. And so it's possible, I guess, these are ordinances, resolutions. And then, so just the mere circulation of that information.
That's fine.
That's fine, right?
Yeah. And again, if you have any questions, you can always ask me or ask Amy to ask me. So whatever works. Yeah. And I'll always be available. Any other questions?
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Maybe we'll see you again Thursday. No, the Thursday your sustainability is that.
Okay, I was like, I thought I did that already.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a great night, everyone.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Okay, so I think now we can jump into the meat of the agenda for our committee business. And by the way, we are not necessarily printing agendas. We're trying to reduce our paper waste. If any of you would like one, let us know. We'd be happy to. But so the first thing we have is the selection of the chair and vice chair, and then we can get right into the work of the committee. I think there.
You know, just for future meetings, what might be good, instead of printed, would be able to see that.
Yes,
We have that.
we have it there.
Agenda. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, those are the,
Sorry, those are
I
me.
think it's there.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, perfect.
yes.
Yeah. I like it.
I like it, I like it, I like it, we can take it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was,
I like to
I like to
before
print
during
my
after,
own.
just come after.
Scratch it out.
So I think what we could do is if anyone is interested in being chair, if you could present that at this point, or if anybody would like to nominate anybody.
I've got a couple of nominations.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Claire to continue as chair from, she did a great job and we'd love to see that. And then I would also like to nominate Kurt as the vice chair because I think he's been very active. That would hear meeting.
Thank you. I'll second that.
I'll do the same for you.
And I'll third that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, that was easy enough. So we have Harrigan as our chair, which is wonderful, and Kurt as our vice chair. That'd be great. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm happy to turn the agenda over to you, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to help out as much as you would like. I'm here for you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and thanks for the votes of confidence and for another season. Now, we have been calling ourselves, I noticed, to try to avoid neighborhood resiliency projects advisory. Next week is Tuesday, and I don't know, committee. We've been saying NRPA. See, that works,
Well,
right?
Gabby kind of came up with that, so
Yeah.
I'm calling it NERPA.
What is it, NERPA?
We just did the acronym NRPA.
NERPA, I like that, NERPA.
NERPA. Does that work for everybody? It is hard to say. I've never thought about doing that. I don't know why. Anyway.
NERPA, that sounds cool.
Well, our first item on the agenda of this meeting is the approval of the minutes of December 19th. Seems like a long time ago. Has everybody had a chance to take a gander of these minutes? Do I have a motion to approve them? Galen will move it. One second. Alon will second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Karen, you weren't there for that, so it's fine. You know, these minutes were pretty meaty, so I think they'll form the basis for a lot of what we can kind of discuss today and thinking about what we want to do moving forward. We want to review our committee's purpose. We want to just do a dramatic reading of our committee's purpose of just, I mean, you know, we have read this, it's pretty short. Amy always makes sure it's on the second page of our agenda. Karen, I know you're up there. Did you get a chance to take a look at the purpose?
I did, yes.
Okay, so you're sort of familiar with what we're doing. Is there any questions that you have about our purpose?
Not from my side, thank you.
Okay, because we've all sort of been with this purpose for a couple of years, so everybody feels reviewed. I won't do a dramatic
Well,
reading.
I always have been tweaking this thing almost every month. I got a question about the last sentence.
You would, okay.
The committee will not advise on matters that have specifically been reviewed by the city commission. Seems like if the commission's reviewing something that we should review too.
And provide input.
Yeah, I don't know why it says to avoid creating fiscal impacts. I don't see how our saying anything.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is that would mean if there's been a decision on something and we would be advising in some way to change that decision,
But that's not, this is much broader than that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's I just don't think that's necessary.
I don't love it myself, but I don't know that changing it right now is possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is within the ordinance and.
Oh, it's in the ordinance.
Yeah,
It's in the ordinance.
and,
If they've already, if they've already,
context is everything, and
Okay,
I do
fine,
know
fine,
this is in there at the time.
Yeah.
and that
It
creates a
was
problem with
created.
the budget, it's already been created for that
Yeah,
specific
I
item.
mean, context is
Okay.
everything. Commissioner Samuelin wanted to, I think, assure the commission that this wasn't additional redundancy on projects or to introduce new things, to change projects or reroute.
I think that was it, if
And
something
that's
had
really
already
what it
was already baked. Yeah, Galen? go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would just say, like, let's take it as a guide.
Yeah, and
that's
if
it.
we feel the need to comment, we will.
Yes.
Right, so we can talk about anything we want.
Yeah.
But like, let's just take this as a guide for the recommendations that we
Yes.
provide.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize.
And we do have a copy of the ordinance that came in our packet for today, so in case you have any questions about that, but I think that's right.
For us to make a recommendation, we obviously have to look at what happens,
Right.
right? So it's just the purpose of like, whatever we're sending back to them isn't like, hey, change that thing.
Right.
It's like, do this.
And in fact, talk about under review, things can be referred to us, so thereby they have been reviewed. So it's, I think we got that. Okay, so we'll moving along to, we wanted to talk about boards and committee engagement discussion. We had already asked, if it were thought that it might be a good idea to invite Carlos Gutierrez from the PPI. But that never happened because he couldn't come.
I think he wasn't available the month we had asked, which may have been November or December. And then we really haven't met again. So we didn't want to invite him for maybe like the first meeting of the committee.
Right,
So we wanted to kind of let you all get set up. But we just met with him on Monday as part of our FEMA program for public information. I'm sure he'd be willing to come. He's always asking.
Maybe we might want to move up set meeting dates for 2024 and deal with it right now. That way we can, when we're seeing who we might want to invite or engage with, we can have dates that we actually agree on. So here we go.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're on Monday right now. Do Mondays work for people? Or are Mondays typically, Monday's kind of one of those days that it's not gonna interfere with a commission meeting. It's not gonna be the day before a commission meeting, something that you all would be concerned about. It's not gonna be the day after. It's not a Friday. So we're kind of like, if Monday works, I'd certainly be okay with looking at Mondays.
But what about you, Amy? Does Mondays work for
What
you?
does
You would be
so-
good gauge for that.
Sure, we have just several committees in addition to commission committees.
Yeah,
So
we have
what
to
I would
look at-
say is maybe just take it a month at a time. We're fine with Mondays generally. But if we look at, for example, for the month of April, I know that, we would just have to check here.
Second,
We would be okay, I know that we checked our calendars, the 23rd or the 30th are okay, those are Tuesdays. We're also dealing with room availability.
okay, sure. The Tuesdays are fine with me. I'm not, usually the big.
Yeah, I'd say.
But it does change each month because of commission meetings.
If we do Tuesdays, 4:30 would be better.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have a Tuesday standing. I can do the 23rd or the 30th, and I can do 4 or 4:30.
The 30th is fast.
Oh,
It's 22nd to the 30th. I think with the first 2 days and the last 2 days are the most, more or less.
okay. So
Yeah, Mondays.
So we want to look at the 22nd as well, Kevin?
22nd wouldn't work.
Yeah, the 22nd is the Passover weekend, it's on Sunday.
Right, so that's fine. What about the week of the 15th through the 19th?
So I could do Tuesday. We have charter review at 5:16.
Okay.
That's.
At 0 for April so far.
I think we could do the 15th.
I could do the 15th.
Would
I
that
can't
work?
do the 15th, that's fine.
Oh, happy birthday. We'd make a cake for you.
Yeah,
This is a great activity for.
well, actually, 4 o'clock, I probably.
Before the big party.
Have a happy hour meeting, I mean, come on.
I'm different.
Does the 15th work for other people or?
As long as you got your taxes done.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm not at a conference that. At university.
Anything else that week, 16, 17, 18?
17th works.
17th works for me.
It's a Wednesday.
Yep,
Can work for me.
can work for you along. Okay, 17 once.
Do we wanna also check with those online?
Karen, 17th of April, Wednesday.
I have meetings until 4:30 on the.
That's fine for me, April 17th, Wednesday.
Okay. How about either side of that, the 16th or the 18th?
16th, no, I don't get it.
18?
I can't do it.
Okay,
Or 17th.
18th,
so looking like we're coming down on the 17th, maybe,
I'd
Gail,
like to join you
could you
for-
come that way?
Or virtually.
Yeah.
I can't join it for virtually. I have a work meeting until 4:30.
Okay, but you could come in a little late,
I
maybe?
could come at 4:30.
what,
Be
what
okay
about,
to do that?
what day is that?
Thursday?
Well,
Or
because then that way,
sorry,
if you guys aren't voting on
Wednesday.
anything.
Why don't we
I'll
start
read any
4:30?
materials before.
we could start at 4:30 on Wednesday the 7th. He could still probably just come virtually, if he's got a work meeting.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
just depends on if I'm taking that.
I don't think it sounds like a votable thing. We haven't said it yet, but it sounds like
If we
informational.
could keep 4, I would like to.
Yeah,
just like you
I would just,
want,
I'll just come a little late and,
Because of the stuff.
and you guys will know that if there's something that we needed to vote on. Let's do it.
Okay, so it sounds like we're good for April 17th, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Yeah?
Perfect.
Whew, we did one.
Okay.
All right, we're good. I'm feeling good about this. Do we want to try for 2?
I think we better.
Yeah, yeah, Todd's feeling to me, yeah. All right, so if we go into
Okay.
the merry month of May, what about if we kind of hunt around that, when's the commission meeting?
May 15th. May 15th is commission, 22nd is presentation and awards.
Okay,
Gabby and I found that May 28th is a Tuesday,
do we like May 28th?
but it would be.
4:30 is fine.
May 28th is a Wednesday. Oh, no, it's a Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So the week of the 20th through the 24th, is
So the 21st, we have our city commission budget retreat. And that begins at 3:30 and will go to 6:30 or later.
23, that's a Thursday.
Or the mission is the 23rd. Oh, we are.
Okay, so we are into that last week in May. Pre-Memorial Day.
No, Memorial Day is 24th, 27th is Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be right after that.
So how about the 29th? That's a Wednesday.
You think that's good?
Do we like it? Like it. Karen, you okay with the Wednesday, May 29?
Yep, that works for me.
4 p.m.
I have the same work. meeting, but I'll just-
Do we have to avoid Wednesdays for you, in other
I
words?
mean, it's every other Wednesday.
Oh,
It's every other
we just
Wednesday
seem to be
for-
hitting it.
That's okay.
We should play the lotto. Is that okay still though?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
sorry.
who knows, maybe we'll adjust that meeting.
Yeah.
If there are some.
Okay, so for now, we'll say the 29th, Wednesday of May.
do you do your work meeting by Zoom?
This one.
So you can actually physically be here at the, and then just come into this room when you're ready.
We can set you up in an office.
Yeah.
If you need. You can sit down.
Don't think it. Okay, do we need, do we want to go into June, or are we just try it? That way we get 3, if we're starting to invite people and do things like that, it might be nice.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's look at June, we could, if we're looking at Wednesdays, look at the 19th.
Yeah, that works for us.
The 19th,
Is that good for your work meeting?
we still have the work meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
I can do the 18th, Ron can do it, but he'll come late.
4:30. Yeah. Okay.
the 18th is fine, but I mean, we could do. I mean, we could do the same thing. It's fine.
So do it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday's better.
Wednesday?
Whatever, and maybe maybe we'll adjust these meetings.
Wednesday, June 18th,
19th.
19th, okay.
Karen, that okay for you?
Yep, that works for me. Thank you.
Okey-dokey. So, all right, maybe we got enough with those 3.
Great, yes.
Okay, that's good. We got a good start, and then, in anyways,
June 19th.
May or so, we'll look ahead and see if we can do some other dates. Well, we'll just really have July, then we're off August anyway. So, we did great. Okay, so now that we have dates, we can talk a little bit about who might come on the dates and what we want to do with the dates. So, boards and committees, if we wanted to see if Mr. Gutierrez could come on the 17th of April. Just to talk about PPI.
And who is the PPI guy?
Yeah,
And if he's not available, Madam Chair, we did just elect a new vice chair, it was Scott Diffenberger for that
Oh,
committee.
Scott,
And he's been with the committee and he's very knowledgeable as well.
Yeah.
He'd be part of it.
sure. Yeah, that'd be fine too. Just because we wanted to talk to them about outreach and engagement techniques, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Okay, great. So that's done. I see here that we talked last time also about if IT could share committee page engagement stats. Do we know anything about how our page does?
I think were we able to get that today? No, we don't have to. No, we don't. Our person is off this week, so we couldn't get the dates, but we can shoot for it next time.
Okay,
Or
well,
we
maybe,
can just route it around.
well, that might be good too, and then maybe that's gonna be part of that discussion about communication generally. You know, how are people engaging with us, how might they engage with us better, that kind of thing. Okay,
We did
great.
include the committee in the last few city newsletters towards the end of the year,
Mhm.
inviting people to go to the different pop-up events. And so there was, I think, should have been more activity.
Right, so let's see if we're actually engaging or if maybe a little more, you know, at MPU, we're learning to engage. It's not, yeah, because just sitting in a room, you didn't really do it. Okay, so that'll be on the next agenda then too, right? So we'll have either Carlos or Scott, and then that. And we talked about, are there any other, while we're on it, we decided that was really the only other committee we wanted to hear from, right? Because that was the only other one that sort of shared similar purpose, is that right? My mind goes from time to time.
Is that the only one now? Like, there's so
There
many
was
different
another one,
committees.
but not that really had to do with communication, engagement. Kevin, maybe you can help us out here. I know there was somebody else.
But what are the city
Well, if we're looking
committees?
at, well, there's about 40,
Right,
so there's tons, but I think when you're looking at communication, it's more that PPI committee. We do have a sustainability committee, but
Right.
that's really focused on, greenhouse gas emission reductions and environmental resources protection and things like that.
Right, in terms of the resilience and sustainability part, yes, but in terms of the engagement with the residents part of that, those projects, not so much. Galen, cancel.
I mean, it's not so much the resident, maybe it's the little resident to John Stewart, which is he on the zone, planning and zoning?
Sounds great.
Well,
Yeah.
he's on he's very active with the chamber.
Yeah,
If you want one of the land use boards.
He'd ever like to come
no,
in.
but like, I think some of his work that he's been doing on historic preservation and that thought about how might you group work and how might you integrate improvements around historic buildings could be of interest.
If he'd like to come sometimes, he's really knowledgeable and he's a great resource.
Yeah, I think we want to focus in what we're gonna talk about,
Right.
otherwise we would just have a great conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's wonderful and he's so knowledgeable, and he does a class every fall about, the future of historic districts, and as staff, we work with him and we help, come and guest speak with those classes, and we give these really interesting renderings of the illustrations at the end of his class, and how to adapt these buildings, so he's really interesting. Maybe to give an overview of that.
Exactly, it might be nice just to have him, I think that's what you were thinking, and talk about, how these projects are handled so as to respect the properties.
And like what he maybe, I think we should like try and think about what it is that's going to do. Because he could tell us what they've done on the private property and then maybe we can think about, well, I don't know if our purview is more the public.
I think both.
Or how adapted to flooding.
Right, well, and that's what he's trying to do is like make it resilient,
Right.
right? Like that's the
Well,
problem.
he's working with students, so
Yes.
first it's a class, but it's really interesting because he really teaches them about sea level rise and historic properties and adaptation, but he also walks them through the different city plans and all the work that's been done, and how do you take those sea level rise projections with city plans like William City, and how do we think about historic districts and buildings in light of sea level rise, and how do we reimagine that? So
Exactly,
it's really interesting,
yeah, that is really
really
interesting.
interesting.
I mean, I'd love to think about
Yeah.
But it's
Some
usually
of
when
the
I think
students
about
did
it.
one of the buildings that I used to live in, so they called me and then I got them in touch with the people who live there now.
It's really cool. I mean, I go and present, and Tackett goes and presents, different experts he brings from all over, so it's pretty cool.
And just thinking about, engaging, people, with what, what we do and engaging us with, we've talked about different ways, a couple of us came to one of the pop-ups or, and that might be another way. Because there's ongoing really cool work being done there, and it would start to, maybe we wanna think about talking to him for, one of the, either the May or the June.
One other thought, the topic, which maybe, but, what about, impact of the unsafe structures legislation on the city and the projects that could be done, if any, to so that some of these properties might qualify, or, just what's the impact? I don't know much about it, and then we got Ocean Drive exempted.
We might want to invite the city attorney's office on that one. To come and talk to you.
Yeah, just to see if there's anything that we'll touch on what we do.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And maybe, we might reach out to them as well.
Why don't we reach out to FEMA? Why don't we have someone from FEMA come and talk to us?
Well, we shall try.
Causes me to drink.
I mean, who better else than someone from FEMA to talk about flooding issues?
Yes, well, they're not always simple to get a hold of until it's fine.
Maybe we talk to our people first.
Because
And then we can see.
what about, FEMA administers the flood insurance program, right?
The NFIP, yes.
Because I was gonna say, that might be something. We don't get it, duplicate work for people, but to the extent that we, projects improve Miami Beach, thereby can reduce our insurance premiums, we qualify for letting.
Good luck.
So, in terms of projects, but. Sort of,
So we do have on that item, and I was kind of saving it towards the end, but we are having a flood insurance forum on April 9th, which will be virtual. And we will be inviting you all to that, but that's going to be an event that's gonna be hosted by Mayor Minor, which is gonna be important for our CRS score to have an elected official at the meeting. He'll be welcoming everyone, and we'll just be talking about the vulnerability of Miami Beach, the National Flood Insurance Program. We do have someone from FEMA Region 4 that will be presenting. We'll have our city's flood insurance broker presenting from their perspectives on how to maximize your flood insurance policies, and also how the work that Miami Beach does is sort of perceived by insurance companies out there and how it impacts like our city's premiums, our city assets. And then we are going to have, we're having our consultant that does our private property application program. He's going to talk about flood mitigation techniques for people's properties. And then we'll have a Q&A. So we are going to have an exciting.
That's exactly.
That's gonna be great.
That's even more than, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So maybe you all will be invited to attend that, and then if you want to, if there's any spin-offs or any follow-ups.
That's a good idea.
Is that a notice? In other words, if we want to ask a question, will there be a problem if more than one person is there?
I mean, it will be a publicly noticed meeting.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Maybe once we're not talking to each other.
No, if it's publicly noticed, we're fine.
We're
Good.
fine.
We'll have a Q&A session.
Yeah, did we
Great.
notice that one yet, Gabby?
That would be something that we could do, you know.
So we'll make sure that it's
let people know about through the year.
That'll be this time, right?
So it's April 8th at 5:30 PM and it's virtual.
Okay. So you'll send us all that, so we make sure we see it. That's good.
Watch that.
In terms of, so maybe, is somebody gonna talk to John Stewart about maybe coming later in the July or June?
Yeah, I mean,
All right, just ask him and see, you know, next time maybe you could just let us know, you know, how he's feeling about that. In terms of, other boards and committees, I think we're good. So commissioners, the mayor and the commissioners, to invite, we did have a discussion, about doing that. And, there was a suggestion, I think that, I don't remember the conversation, a lot seems to have happened since December. But he said he wanted to invite Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez first, and then followed by Commissioner Fernandez, and or then the mayor. And then the new folks a little later. I think the idea was, if I'm summarizing from my faded memory correctly, that we would talk to them about what we have the questions here on page 2 minutes. Please discuss your philosophy and priorities regarding the management and communication of the City of Resilience infrastructure project, and share any projects or priorities that you have championed that you're particularly interested in. I think that's not a bad approach, is sort of get them to talk about it.
Yeah, and we could, I think we also should ask them about, to get their personal feedback on the communications program with respect to that. It's like something to work on.
Yeah, if they have ideas for that.
You know, there's a way to process for that. They don't have to try and take that on themselves.
Right. No, I think that's did we want to go ahead and start
Sure.
inviting?
Absolutely. Why the delay? Definitely should.
Exactly. And do you want to start with Chris?
Sure. I mean, I was the one that suggested Christian, because, you know, as a first one, only because she's very opposed to any flood mitigation. You know, she was opposed to street raising, she was opposed to the bioswale. She was, you know, her and Michael Gore, when he was on the commission, voted against any, you know, flood mitigation to be done on Upper North Bay Road. So that's what I'd like to hear, what she is in favor of.
Okay.
So,
Where
you
was she
know,
now? She got changed.
she always tends to vote no on everything, so I'd like to see what she's gonna vote yes for.
Okay. All right, well, that's pretty plain.
Yeah, plain and
Good.
simple, plain and simple.
Yes.
You know?
So if she's not available, do you want to, would you like us to just have a
Oh, of course, of course.
I just go to Fernandez.
minutes?
Of course.
Yeah. And that would be then for April?
So that would be for April 17th.
April's gonna get busy.
Yeah.
So, good. So then we'll have the ball rolling, and then do we want to, depending on which one of them says yes,
Yeah, I mean, it'll make it hard for them, whatever's good, convenient for them to come,
sure. And then we could ask the other one for the 29th.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Sure.
just so, because I know we're doing this with MBU now, so I have some idea that, so you sort of have to know ahead with their schedules, your schedules, and and get them in the slots, or we won't make it through the whole.
And we have to be courteous to the mayor, I mean, whatever season is available, of course.
Well, that's the other thing, we have 3 names with 3 dates, so I'm going to reach out and see if
Right.
any of those works for you.
Right.
Okay, so that's good, and what's next? Yeah, future agenda items specifically, C4W, Normandale Traffic Calming Project. Okay, so I know Commissioner Dominguez, I think, is no longer with us, but Aaron.
I'm still on.
You are,
hi, Commissioner.
thank
You're still
you. I didn't know. I wanted to get to this and I realized you might be gone. Do you want to speak to this a little bit before we?
Sure. So moving forward, all of our projects have some sort of resiliency aspect to it. But anyway, recently the city did a community virtual meeting about a traffic circle, something going on up in North Beach. And I participated as an attendee, just a regular listener, and Commissioner Bott was also on there. And then a couple neighbors that were on there as well, former Commissioner Richard Steinberg. Anyway, the project, the city gave a beautiful presentation about the project, but the big take home was it was going to have a loss of parking of 70 spots. Nobody knew about it. Everyone was upset about it. And the city defended itself and said, well, we sent out this information and that information and this. So it just reminded me of what happened with the First Street project communication last year when this committee first got together. And I thought it would be a perfect opportunity. The very next day I had a call from Mickey Steinberg. She goes, it's in front of my building. I knew nothing about it, but the city did what it was supposed to, it sent out communication. But something fell along the way because 2 former commissioners and a current commissioner that live in that area knew nothing about it. So that's why I referred it to your committee to see if viewing how the city communicated this, how is it that so many people didn't know?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I also heard from Commissioner Bott on this. I got a Commissioner Bott length email. Yeah, we could certainly take a look, and we just have to sort of figure out, maybe for the next time we put it on the agenda for kind of a presentation of how the communication was handled. Obviously, things fell through the cracks.
Yeah, no, let's add it, and then also we can invite Jose and, from transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I think it, in terms of our mission, which is more resiliency, but its communication is very important, and we can use this as an example of, okay, something went wrong here, let's learn from it, and then we can use it for our resiliency projects.
Like
So
First
it's-
Street.
Yeah, so it's a little less, it's more about the communication and a little less about the project.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very much so, because I know, and I want to go back and find, if you recall, back in the day, season 1, we actually had a project referral from late Commissioner Samuel to go ahead and look and see if we could identify certain areas where we could do better. And I want to go back and get that that memo, that LTC that we wrote, and maybe you could also forward that around to everybody who wasn't in season 1.
Yes.
And because I think we picked up on some pretty good things there. For example, one of the things I heard that happened with this most recent, traffic meeting was that somebody had notified building management, but not residents. And that was something that we picked up on earlier as well. Because, you know, building management apparently has this sketchy credibility level in terms of a performance level in getting these things through to the residents. The city does actually a better job, just us mice.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get closer to the people, but it doesn't happen. So maybe get that, take a look at that memo, and then if you could speak with us, and if you think it's helpful.
No, definitely, yeah, and I do want to, and I want to include Jose's team also, because on this one, there's a form that has to get approved by building management and by the owners. And actually, if you don't respond, it's considered like an approval. So some of the issue is, and that's in our transportation manual. So I think if we walk through that, it's something that we've always had issues with in other traffic calming projects. When you try to put a speed signal in front of somebody's property, it's easier in the single family homes because it's only 4 or 5 people that are included in that process. But once you're in these multi-family homes, you have 60 or 50 people now in this process. And the way the manual is written, if only one person says no, then that could go, that could be canceled. So it's important for you guys to understand that process, and then, we always love feedback on how to improve it.
So that whole process is kind of over inclusive and under inclusive. So if nobody says anything, it's a go.
It's a go,
One
but if
person
one
objects.
person objects, then you could potentially have a stop, but then you have to, is it the association that has the final say, because they represent on the building, so that's where, I think your feedback would be beneficial.
Yeah, so that if we can just maybe for that next meeting, get kind of an overview of how that was handled.
Yeah,
the
we'll walk
bright
you through
spots.
the value process and see, kind of the depth, going into before this meeting.
Wow. Because then where would that process get changed if they were just kind of getting ahead of ourselves, I guess, but.
I don't know the procedure per se. I think you would all have a recommendation that would go up to the city
We'll
commission.
go to the commission.
And then the commission would
But it would be
eventually,
possible.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's possible.
is there a manual, an FDOT manual?
And that's where my mind is going to next. I don't know if it's a county manual. I know the county is heavily involved. So that's why when we get the transportation
Yeah,
team,
yeah,
we'll know.
Okay.
that-
I definitely have been unexcited by the transportation manuals.
Diplomatically put.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
So where can we find the information about this, on the traffic calming project?
Is there a video of that?
Yeah, there's a video of it.
Can you send us all the link
And the-
Yeah.
to that video so we can sort of see what happened?
But I would say if we do want somebody from the county we want to talk to, just let me know. Like, I have their contact information.
That's good.
Yeah,
If we can ID the right person.
yeah, that seems to be the big thing, but you,
Yeah, I'm not like, we could like figure out, but get the information.
so that will be on our next agenda, it sounds like we have, a pretty full house. We have one commissioner, we have, somebody from PPI, right? And we have this, Normandy traffic calming project. That sounds like a pretty full agenda to me for now. So that being said, are there other things we would like to talk about doing or putting on for future meetings?
Yeah, I mean, something I think we should have is some sort of a matrix, whatever, that this, projects, current projects, whatever, and then some sort of status on what's happening with communication. For example, I know there's a meeting coming up on the First Street project, so we would look and we'd see how the Street project is coming up. But there are other projects as well. I just don't know all the ones out there. So some way for us to just kind of be able to see at a glance, there's projects maybe in order of how soon we're going to be starting.
Yeah.
Like a status sheet. Yeah, so, a list of projects and then maybe something about communication or even anything. Just, some way for us to,
City calendar.
very high level,
So we
keep
can
track.
spot.
Like a calendar of what's coming up.
Yeah.
Like project specific wise and meeting wise.
Yeah, that would be one way to do it, is a calendar. It would be easier, I think, if you had like a list of projects and then you had a set of standard things like communicate to neighborhood, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talk to
Begin,
Bill.
begin phase one, start whatever, so it's like a matrix thing.
Yeah.
With a set of boxes, so you can just look at a project, you can see, we're 60% design and we're doing communications to the neighborhood. Something like that.
Exactly, yeah, we have something that's similar to
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the only thing I would add is that the city has so many projects. I mean, there are tons, there are hundreds between CIP and public works, environmental, transportation. So what I'm thinking, it might be helpful for Kevin to look at it from a communications perspective, because he gets paid when stuff is really, getting ready to be communicated, and maybe that's the alert.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's hundreds of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
I think that's what.
No, I
Yeah,
agree,
like all our
I got you.
projects.
So maybe it's some major projects.
Major projects.
Yeah.
And then there could be a separate thing else, but yeah, I mean, if the project is what, set some relative dollar cutoff, how we get down to 10 projects or whatever. The ones that come to mind are like First Street, 41st Street, Alton Road.
Right.
There's like.
And things that are gonna also have major impacts, to people's lives.
Yeah. First Street, but
Right.
So there might be 10 at most.
How soon is that coming on? 41st Street, I believe it's starting next month, like towards the end of the month.
Is this the pipe over?
That's the pipe on the bridge, between, Indian Creek Drive and Pine Tree Drive, so that bridge right there, so it's gonna go down to 190. We're actually doing a public meeting on that, it's gonna be really painful.
Yeah.
So,
How long is that gonna be?
actually, I believe it's fairly quick, I think it's by kind of like the end of the year, so by September.
All
So,
summer basically.
it's all summer, yeah.
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 that just the water pipe?
It's the water main, it's the aerial water main, the one that's hanging on the bridge. So they're going to relocate that. I think right now it's kind of attached to the side of the bridge, now it's gonna go under the bridge. So I believe how they're gonna do it.
Why?
Go under. There is a future FDOT project to come in to repair the bridge, so they have to remove it from where it is now. They have to upgrade it, and then there's a larger 41st Street project coming online. I think a year and a half or so. That's the CIP one where you're gonna renovate 41st Street, and then as part of that one, there's a water main project incorporated for the actual 41st Street. This is just the bridge, and then.
So a year and a half, that puts us at beginning of
26.
26?
I think so, yeah. I gotta check my dates on that.
How long do you think that's gonna last?
The larger 41st Street, I wanna say that's like a 2-year project. Yeah, that one's supposed to be transformative for the area.
Yeah.
So,
Just in time for multiple.
that's the
closings.
deal.
What the close?
Alton Road
Alton
closing.
Road.
Yeah,
Cause that's what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
we're talking about
North or the
Season two.
The north or the south?
Both.
The one with all the trees coming down.
From the trees coming down. It goes up to 48th Street.
The other project that I just saw something on, talk about, that we have on radar is that they're going to be doing the horizontal drilling for the power line to go to the FPL substation. And they're gonna be closing Fifth Street.
Yes,
all-
yeah.
There's a whole bunch of
so
stuff there.
just started, I think their outreach today, I saw letters on Facebook that people started to receive the letters.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think we ought to be kind of on top of that sort
Yeah.
of stuff.
That's a good one.
That would be an example of something that should be like on a list of
Yeah.
things we want to keep an eye on.
Major outreach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Major outreach.
that's a good one. That's gonna be, and then I can't even imagine what happens when the pedestrian bridge over Gardner starts occurring. I don't know what what they've got to do for that, but it's gotta be something. That's a year away.
To begin,
Well,
I don't think a year and a half, but I think over the summer as well. That's what we're aiming.
well, then we
I
need to,
mean, ultimately, that's the goal.
That's a pre-made structure, eventually you can put it in place, I don't think it's.
Yeah, so it comes in like, I believe it comes in pre-built, and you kind of put it in place, but the nights we put it in place, I think there's talks of like a full shutdown of the MacArthur overnight. Yeah, they're still working on those MOCs.
yeah, I know that, Commissioner Fernandez was pretty adamant that that project should get going, and that was a Board's commission.
Yeah.
Finish the
I don't
Baywalk
really
and
think that's
then,
maybe that,
yeah,
No, it's just like those nights that they're breaking into pieces, when you have the MacArthur closed all night, you know, that's gonna be difficult for some.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be that difficult.
GFPL.
Yeah, certainly night, you got, I mean, you go to dictionary, you go title.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, it's during the day when you have,
Exactly.
where you suddenly, all the overflow goes to, and somewhere else, and then
Yeah.
things are backed up.
I think it's a great idea that if we could have some way, you know, like we're talking about, to look at where the big communication bright lights are
Yeah.
coming up for some of these bigger projects, that would be helpful, and that's a place where we could be helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, you know,
Kind of see everything spread out.
Yeah, because right now, it's just like.
we don't get some more of
We're digging,
it.
you know.
Okay.
It's not there, a little more structure.
So we can put that sort of initial conversation on for next time.
Yeah, project matrix.
Yeah, project update matrix or something, call it, yeah, something like that. And then maybe, and I think that would be helpful to guide us too as to where city might be interested in some help or some input from this group. You know, I remember one of the things that we looked at years ago was, you know, the fact that the city uses, what is it, you still use Media Resource Group?
They're one of our PIOs, yeah,
Right,
in the pool.
so
We
that you
use a pool of different PIOs.
and so, you know, sort of how those people are deployed and, you know, what they do. You know, what's their role in some of this, getting in touch with, because I know some of their role involves doing, like I know with South and Fifth, when that project first started, back in the dark ages.
Yeah.
I was still on the South Fifth board, I was newly on the South Fifth board. And I believe at that time, MRG was running the workshops.
Okay, yes, yeah,
Not
so,
very well.
okay.
Say so. But I think that, you know, be interesting to sort of know who's on first with some of those too, so what's happening,
Yeah,
who's doing it.
okay, yeah, we could, yeah, part of that matrix.
Yeah, one of them could be, who's responsible for communications.
Yeah.
And you'll
Who's
say,
doing it?
We're all
FPL
responsible,
or-
yeah, but I think also like FPL and FDOT projects.
Yes.
We at least know who's who.
Right,
Yeah,
because that does get interesting, I'm finding.
yes.
After 2 full seasons, yeah, I'm sure.
I have a question about, just like thinking about all these projects, and then we're focused on resilience. Do you all have a way, now that you're doing so much integration, you know, which I know is like the big effort, right? Yeah, it's like 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, when you started, we started down this path, like the resilience things were always add-ons or like extras, and now they're integrated, but it might make it harder to see them. And I'm just wondering, like, my question here was, wait, for this FPL project, is that the thing that's going to shore power? Because, like, I don't know why they have to expand or do that, but like, you know, or, and on 41st Street, what are the resilience improvements that you're adding?
Well, the resiliency is having redundancy in your power.
Oh, totally, right?
Yes.
I mean, but it's there, it's
Yeah.
just that I don't know what they're doing, and I know they have to do a bunch of upgrades to meet the demand that we're gonna put into the port, so that we don't get all of that soot coming, I mean, you can see it, lands on my car. And it like, that's gonna be an improvement, but then also it'll be a lot more, maybe it's just for redundancy and get under, you know, keep it there, but like, I think that's the question, like, I'd love to see on 41st, maybe when you see what's happening around 41st, just think about, look at the communications that you're already doing, which they're always better than I think, I look at them too fast. You know, I'm like, oh yeah. But I'm just wondering if there's something in there that says like, okay, this is the resilience investment happening on first, that's part of the scale.
Yeah, because probably, I mean, that just doesn't maybe get carved out or stand out enough,
Not if it's,
right? And that would be important.
right, because I mean, like in 2015, when they raised the streets, they're like, we're raising the streets.
Right.
But that was part of community improvement. They went in, there was already improvement happening, and they're like, well, we're gonna add on to the improvement and raise the streets. And it was very obvious that that's what was happening.
Right.
Because they said a lot about it.
Is that part of the plan for 41st Street?
Or not raising the streets, no.
No.
But is there drainage improvement?
I think in the ultimate CIP project there will be, and this small piece that's coming online, I don't think there's any drainage. I think it's just the
But
water.
no, I mean in the
I think
CIP
it's-
In
project.
the CIP project, yeah.
That's
there
more
should
what I'm
be
getting at,
big
big one.
drainage improvements,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's a lot of resiliency.
Like I like the blue green for the.
If you would like to see a presentation on 41st Street, we can talk to staff about that. It's a GOV project
Yeah.
as well. It's my understanding it's more cosmetic and it's more about sort of walkability and making it safer. And so I think that's more of the focus of that project.
Maybe that's not the right one.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
probably not the
thinking
right one.
like, when it's coming in, how do we also explain, hey guys, yes,
It's a
we're
good,
gonna deal with this interruption again and again, but you know, why is it feel perfect?
right, and where is the value
Well, it's
add?
definitely needed, that's for sure.
Right, yeah, I mean, like, it's gonna look
Yes,
great,
yes,
but it's also
yes.
gonna
Yeah.
make it flood a little less.
I think it's easier to tease out from projects that are the full neighborhood improvement projects, like
Yeah,
West
sure.
Avenue, like
Sure,
First Street and
sure.
South Fifth,
And maybe
like the
that's
North
where-
Beach projects. I think it's a little bit easier to see because you're dealing with more of a transformative project.
Sure, but it may be that some of these, the value added, by the resiliency component is important to the people as well. And then it would be a good way, talking about communication engagement, to engage people around what's actually happening that's disrupting their lives for X, Y, Z amount of time. So that's another.
My proposal is just that, let's think about
Yeah,
that
think
in the
about it when it
future,
comes
when they
up.
bring us one of these.
Yeah.
Exactly, let's make sure we ask about that. Yeah. Well, I think we did quite a bit of work. I don't see anything, so I think we can move to staff updates unless anybody has anything further for us. Hold on. Karen, you're on the screen. I don't mean to forget you. Did you have anything to add?
I did not for today. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we look forward to you being here in person. I never mean to neglect anybody just because they're virtual. So,
Not at all, not at all. Thank you.
sure thing. Okay, so staff updates.
So we just have a few things to tell you about. One, we do have that Florida Transform, April 8th, so mark your calendars, and we will route that around. Another item, which was a follow-up to last year, when Public Works came to present the stormwater master plan to this committee. That master plan was adopted by our city commission in March. And the next step is for it to go to finance to look into the funding. And so if you ever want to know more about that, you did luckily have, a nice presentation, but that nice presentation was done to the commission and that got approved. Our private property adaptation program is underway now. We had additional interest, so we did extend the deadline to April 2nd.
Got that, thank you.
Got that
Yes,
email?
thank you, Noel, for sharing that. We have about 34 applications already, I believe. And we had tons of calls. Noel was on the phone all day. People were ringing out, especially maybe after the weekend we had. Ringing. But we're really, really excited about that program. It's moving right along.
That's great.
And then in addition, just note that turtle season starts April 1st. I don't know if we will see you before then. I don't think we will. So just, if you see anything on the beach or the beach park or you see bright lights, let us know. ENS is very committed to, helping reduce lights issues and making sure they can rest properly. It's exciting for us.
Yes.
Maybe we should invite a turtle to the meeting, see what they say.
We are having Turtle Fest April 20th, and that will start to be advertised. And you're more than welcome to come, but we had it last year for the first time. And so this will be our second annual Turtle Fest. It's sponsored by the Boucher Brothers. And it is a beautiful event at Alta Stonewall Park, where we have about like 10 different partners that bring to environmental education. We have a band, we have face painting, and bounce houses, and so you're very
It's a
welcome to
great
come.
event.
Yeah,
I'm
Sounds
sure you
fun.
gave a turtle as like.
and we had a turtle last year. We had a turtle. We're trying to get one this year, but they're limited availability, and there's only one.
Dressed up as a turtle.
The Turtle Hospital from,
You're
they're actually certified
Very cool.
for that.
That is ours.
Yes, they're notoriously busy, and there are turtles at the zoo Miami, but they're not really approved to travel with them. So we gotta be very careful, of course, endangered species. But just know those things are happening. And if there's any additional info you'd like us to present at further meetings, again, we're here for that.
You said that the flooding program was the 8th or the 9th?
Is April 8th, Monday.
No, that's the full solar eclipse.
Oh,
I will be under it in Buffalo, New York.
wow.
Yeah, in the path of totality. So, that is, what time is that though?
5:30.
Okay, still probably will be recovering.
So you'll have to call us about that.
I will, I'll give a full report.
Exciting.
Any,
The other item maybe of interest, the First Street project will be discussed in finance at first time before next week.
oh,
So there was First Street, there was a referral at this month's city commission for the sort of the cost issues of First Street to be discussed in finance.
April
So that
19th, you
April
said?
19th is finance, yes.
Where's the flood insurance then on the 8th?
It is virtual. It's virtual.
great.
Should be on the city calendar already, we'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay, so, is there any member of the public anywhere wishing to speak? I don't see anyone under the chairs and tables and don't see anyone on the screen, so, hearing nothing, do I have a motion to adjourn our first meeting?
A second.
Okay, I don't know who first did. Oh, okay, Galen moved it and Alon seconded it, and all in favor? Aye. Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
See you next week.
For another.
Bye-bye.
episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What date did you say the Turtle Fest was?
April 20th, from 3 to 6 p.m.
April 20th.
Don't wanna miss that one,
Don't want to
Laura.
miss that.
No, it sounds great.
Sounds like fun.
You know,
Yeah, I went last year. It was nice.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Totally
I
nice.
want to try to review.
Okay, well, thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for coming. Did you know?
No, I think.
All right, everyone, I'm going to log off. Thank you for joining.
All
right.